You know, when you look at Pakistan's government, it's a pretty complex machine. But tucked inside is this small, really powerful group that gets together to solve some of the biggest arguments between the central government and the provinces. It's called the Council of Common Interests. And in this explainer, we're going to dive into what it is, who's on it, and why it's so incredibly important for the whole country.
Okay, so here's our game plan. We'll start with the absolute basics, right? What even is the CCI? Then we'll get into how it works as a mediator, figure out who gets a seat at this important table, look at how it's changed over the years, and finally, we'll connect all the dots to see why this council is such a big deal.
All right, let's get right to it. First things first, what exactly is the Council of Common Interests? You'll hear it called the CCI a lot, so let's break down what that actually means. So what it boils down to is this. The CCI is an official body written right into the Constitution that has one main job: to sort out disagreements about power. It's the place where the central government, what they call the federation, and the individual provinces come face to face to work things out. A really simple way to picture it is like a family meeting for the whole nation. You've got the federal government and you've got the provinces, and they all have their own needs and their own priorities. Well, the CCI is where they all have to sit down in the same room, talk it out, and find some common ground. Okay, so let's dig a little deeper. What problem was this council actually created to solve? Because it's not just a discussion group, it's a constitutional mediator with real authority.
And this is, the million-dollar question for any country with a federal system, right? How do you possibly balance the power of the national government with the rights of the regional governments? How do you make sure everyone feels like they're getting a fair shake, especially when you're talking about things like money, resources, and who's responsible for what?
And this is where Pakistan's constitution gets really clever. It didn't just hope that everyone would play nice. Nope. It built a specific mechanism right into the system to handle these conflicts. The CCI's whole reason for being is to be the official referee in these high-stakes negotiations.
So who are the power players? Who actually gets a seat at this critical family meeting? Well, the way the council is put together is very, very specific, and it's all about creating a careful balance of power.
Believe it or not, it all comes down to just 8 people. A tiny group when you think about it, with this massive responsibility for keeping the country running smoothly.
So check this out. The way it's set up is actually pretty brilliant. The Prime Minister is the chairperson, then you have the chief ministers from all 4 provinces, and on the other side you have 3 federal ministers chosen by the Prime Minister. So that creates a perfect 4 versus 4 split between the provinces and the Federation, with the Prime Minister essentially acting as the tiebreaker.
Now, what's interesting is that the CCI didn't just appear fully formed like this. It's had a journey. Let's quickly look at 2 key moments in its history that really defined what it is today.
So it was born back in 1973 with the new Constitution, but the real game changer, the moment everything shifted, came much later in 2010. That's when the 18th Amendment was passed, and it gave the CCI some serious muscle by officially putting it under the Ministry of Interprovincial Coordination.
And this is a huge deal. That same amendment made it mandatory for the council to meet at least once every 90 days. This is absolutely crucial because it means these important conversations have to happen regularly. Issues can't just be swept under the rug anymore.
Okay, so we've got the what, the who, and the how. Let's bring it all home. Why does this one council matter so much for the stability and, really, the unity of the entire country?
Think about it this way. You've got the federal government, right? They're worried about the big picture stuff, national security, foreign policy, the currency. But then you have the provinces, and they're focused on what's happening on the ground, managing resources like water and gas, local governance and development projects. The CCI is the constitutional bridge that connects these 2 worlds, making sure both sides are heard and balanced.
So when you put it all together, the CCI is so much more than just a committee. It's basically the beating heart of federalism in Pakistan. It makes sure the provinces get a real say, it forces everyone to the table to solve problems, and it pushes for cooperation. And this is really important. It's not some secret group making decisions on its own. It has to answer to both houses of parliament, which keeps it woven into the democratic fabric of the country.
The whole point of the Council of Common Interests is to find and protect the things that bind a diverse nation together, which really leaves us with one final big question to think about. For any nation, what is the single most important common interest that its leaders should always protect? Thanks for digging into this with us.